welcome back to my channel. It's Jane here. And today I've got a fun little project for you, making some homemade keyrings with embossing sparkles. So this is one that I have made just before I started filming, and I've used embossing sparkles all over my blank keyring and sealed it in with some clear gloss before adding a letter on the front, which I've also embossed in a coordinating colour. So I'm going to show you exactly how I've done that, and for my next keyring I'm going to use these two colours. We've got the beautiful grapefruit Fizzos here, which is like a lavender colour, absolutely full of sparkle. And then for the initial on this one, I'm going to use Plum Fizz. And then you can leave your keyring as it is, or like I've done, I've added a layer of clear gloss over the heat embossing, and that's just to give it a really lovely, shiny, smooth finish. So for the keyrings themselves, I just bought this little kit from Amazon, and it comes with 20 different keychain blanks. They're just made from like chipboard. And they come with some coordinating tassels and the actual metal keychain as well. So for my first one, I think I'm going to go for this little heart shape. I'm going to cover it with embossing ink. Now this is a new format of mixed media brush, which WOW has recently brought out. It's the same embossing ink formula as you get in the embossing ink pad, and that was in the old mixed media brush. It's just in a kind of more compact, kind of rounder bottle, like a little nail polish bottle. And all we're going to do is paint the entire side of the keyring blank with this embossing ink. And you don't need a lot. You can see that I'm just wiping away the excess on the side of the bottle, and I am just painting it all over just like you would with nail polish. So once that is all covered, I'm going to give my embossing sparkles a little shake because some settling can occur with them. And then I'm going to tap it all over that inked up keyring blank. Now I've got my little silicone mat out here, and this is a really handy little thing to have when you are heat embossing. So I just pop whatever I'm embossing on top of that, and then I can heat emboss directly without damaging anything that's underneath on my craft desk. So I've got my heat tool here. Now normally for heat embossing I'd set it to the highest setting, but for this project I've actually set it to the lower setting, and I'm embossing this slowly. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm using embossing sparkles which are full of glitter. So if you come at it too full on with a really powerful blast of the heat tool, some of those sparkles, some of that glitter is going to blow away, which is obviously not what we want. So that's the first side set, and can you see how much sparkle and shine is in that? So these keyrings are for my daughter's 6th birthday party, so I'm making them for her and her friends as little party favours. And as you can imagine, with 6-year-old girls, they are all about the glitter, so I'm hoping that these go down a storm. So off camera, I have done the exact same thing to the reverse of the keyring. I have painted it with the embossing ink, poured over my sparkles, and then heat set it on a low setting. So now I'm just doing the sides as well, because I don't want any of that bare wooden keychain to be showing through. I want it all to be sparkly and shiny. So I'm just doing exactly the same thing, and I'm just carefully painting all around the edges. As you can see, I am wiping off the excess as I go because I don't want any big globs of embossing ink on there. I just want a small amount, because really a tiny amount is all you need. So then I'm just pouring the embossing sparkles again over those edges, just like we did with the flat side. And then I'm going to come in with my heat gun on the low setting again, and I'm going to heat emboss all around the edges. Another good thing about these little silicone mats is that I can turn them around and not have to handle the keychain itself and risk burning myself or smudging the heat embossing while it's still sticky. So I just wanted to point out to you that these embossing sparkles that I'm using, see they've got an O on the product code. That means it's an opaque powder, so you're going to get good coverage, whereas translucent powders have a T in the product code and they're slightly more see-through. So if you're doing something like this and you want good coverage and for them not to be see-through, then always better to go for one of the opaque powders. So I've grabbed my alpha dies from Altenew and I'm just die cutting the letter C for my daughter Charlotte, and I've done that 3 times in total. And then I'm just going to stack them together with some liquid glue because I want the initial on the front of my keychains to have some good dimension to it. And for this, I'm just going to use some Tombow Mono liquid glue. Any liquid glue that you've got will work fine. The benefit of using liquid glue rather than any other type is that you do have that little bit of wiggle room. So when you're stacking things on top of each other, you can make sure that you wiggle them into place and that they are properly lined up. I'll just take a little moment now to tell you, while I'm doing all of this gluing, that all of the products that I use today are going to be listed in the YouTube description below. You can also use my discount code, which is WowDTJane, to get yourself 10% off any products that you purchase. So I should tell you that that is an affiliate link, which means that if you use it, I will get a small commission, but it's at no cost to you. In fact, you get a discount, so everybody is a winner. So I have just dipped my initial into the Wow Embossing ink pad. Again, you could use the mixed media brush here if you wanted to. I just thought that was going to get a little bit messy. So I've pressed the initial into my embossing ink pad and I've covered it with the Plum Fizz powder. It's lovely and glossy and shiny, that powder, which is why I wanted to use it. But this is one of the more translucent powders. So I'm actually, while the heat embossing is still warm and still a bit sticky, I'm pouring some extra powder over the top and heat setting it again. And in total, I think I did that 3 or 4 times to build up the purple colour that I was after. And also, the more layers of embossing that you add, the more kind of puffy and 3-dimensional it becomes, which is perfect for what I was going for. So this next step is entirely optional. I am going to add a layer of clear gloss to my keyring. You don't have to do this at all. The keyring is perfect as it is. It's lovely and glittery and shiny, but it does have a textured finish to it, like many embossing powders do. But I wanted a slightly more glossy, shiny finish to mine, like you get with acrylic keyrings or acetate. So I'm just adding another layer of the embossing ink with my mixed media brush over the keyring. And this time I'm adding my clear gloss powder over the top. So I'm just going to shake off the excess and heat set that. And this time I'm actually going to heat set it on a high setting because now all of the lovely embossing glitter has already been bonded to the keyring. It's not going to be flying off anywhere, so I can pop that on my high setting and heat emboss it like I normally would. So I've given that a second to cool down, and I'm just going to show you how glossy and shiny that is. So you can still see all of the lovely glitter and colour underneath, but it's just got that more glossy finish. So off screen, I have also added the clear gloss to the reverse and the edges of my heart keyring. You can add as many layers of clear gloss as you want to. The more you add, the kind of shinier and puffier your keyring is going to be. I've just added 2 layers to mine, and now I am adding on the initial with liquid glue. That should stick absolutely fine, but if you wanted extra security, you could paint another layer of clear gloss over the entire front once your initial is glued to the front. And then all that's left to do is to add the actual keyring on. So I'm popping a coordinating coloured tassel onto the little metal ring and the keyring itself, and then popping that through the hole. So you just need to be very careful when you do this, that obviously you are not picking away any of your lovely embossing. And then I'm just using my wire snips, or you can use some pliers to close up that loop. Again, be super careful when you're doing this that you don't end up chipping your embossing. And that is the finished keyring. I love how glittery and glossy that is, and I think that my daughter will too. So I'm just going to finish up by showing you the other keyrings that I made. This one is made with golden blue embossing glitter, and the E on the front is embossed with platinum, which is a super shiny golden colour. This one is Sakura Bloom for the pink glitter. which is from the recent Brennan Keane release, which I absolutely adored. And the V on the front is embossed with Pastel Rosy Glow Ultra High. So yeah, I hope the camera is picking up on the glitter. It's so hard to get glitter to show up on camera, but trust me, these are super shiny, super glossy and super glittery, and hopefully will go down a treat with the 6-year-old. So I hope you have enjoyed this video today. I hope it'll have you reaching for your embossing glitters and having a play with them. And I hope it's inspired you to try something a little bit different. Thanks again, and I'll see you all soon.